Hey guys, Jujubear here. Welcome back. Now we're going to be jumping into the first of 3 battles in Total War Tuesday. I'm playing against an opponent here. His name is the Tower, the Way I think was the name of it. I brought a Parthian army here. My opponent's brought quite a small Lusitani contingent there. So what I've got, right up the front here is 2 of these Eastern Slingers. Good missile block chance, all together quite a nice unit to bring to this kind of engagement. They got 150 range, so they should be able to... I know they got about the same range as both of these units. So he has brought an Iberian Skirmisher and a Balearic Slinger, so a lot of killing power stored up in this Balearic Slinger here, but not so much for the Iberian Skirmishers there. So I should be able to win out the skirmishing engagements. My main line is made up of 1, 2, 3 Persian Hoplites. Now these are just meant to be a holding force. I got them spread fairly wide. The game works pretty well at the moment for spaghetti mechanics, so spreading them out this thin just kind of makes sense in terms of how the game is currently working. And then on the flank, I've got 1 Eastern Spearman to front this Mercenary Summation Lancer here. Now my thinking behind this build is hold up any cav charges with my Eastern Spearmen, and then hit them up with my Summation Lancers. Or if it's a melee cav, like they have got here, this Scutari cav, I can hit them with my Lancers, get that nice 51 charge bonus added into their attack, and then follow up with some Eastern Spearmen and kind of mop up the fight. So I'm literally just thinking, hold them with my Hoplites and kind of flank around and hit them with my shock cav and that kind of thing. And my general is of course a Royal Lancer, a Royal Cataphract, super heavy shock cav. You know, you can't really choose much else if you're playing as Parthia. The other choices aren't really that great. And then we have a Mercenary Summation Horse Archer. Now these guys are very cheap, 125 range. Horse Archers at this point in the game are quite good. I'm feeling good about bringing at least 1 in every single build. They just kind of provide a bit of a diversion. So it looks like he's kind of facing up with my Horse Archer over here and just kind of ignoring the main part of my army at this point. So it's kind of working for me. I'm able to move up generally unscathed. So the rest of my opponent's army is consisting of a Lusitani Noble. He's actually got 2 of them. Now these guys don't have the best, they have pretty poor armor for such an expensive unit, and they've got a pretty poor missile block chance with these tiny little shields, so I'm going to see if I can use that to my advantage. Of course I'm going to have to deal with his skirmishers at some point and do something about them before I can start laying down some fire on some of these more expensive units. So he's immediately going to face off with my Mercenary Summation Horse Archer with his Canterbury Cav. Now, my units they're both light missile cavs, so I'm going to be able to outrun him if it ends up coming to that. But you can see just how much I outnumber my opponent here. He is kind of sizing me up at this point. It looks like he's going to make a push for my skirmishers and push them back. So I'm quite happy to let that happen. All the while I'm ganging up and focusing fire on this Balearic thing. I just have to make sure that I deal with this unit before I do deal with anything else. So at this point I'm going to send in Persian Hoplite just to hold down his Scutari cav, and he doesn't end up getting a counter charge or running away, so nice attack in the rear. He does manage to pull out and take relatively few losses there, but he is going to throw in his Lusitani Noble over here. I managed to get my my Lancers around this flank here. All the while these skirmishers are kind of wasting their ammo on a very cheap Eastern Slinger unit. Probably not the best target for him to take in that respect. So I'm going to push back his skirmishers with my Persian Hoplites, and I'm ganging up on his Lusitani Noble with 2 of my Spearmen. They're probably not going to do too well in that engagement. And then I do get I missed it. A full frontal charge on these Lusitani Nobles with my Eastern Cataphract General. Now I'm going to chuck in my Persian Hoplites just to hold up his cav, while I extricate my own Royal Cataphracts. And I'm going to get a nice rear charge into these Lusitani Nobles with one of my Persian Hoplites. All the while I'm going to use my Mercenary Summation Lancers to try and get into his Balearic Slingers, but he sees what I'm doing and he brings back his Scutari cav to intercept, so I change targets and go straight for them. Managed to get a fair few kills off that charge. It's going to work out quite well for me, but he is going to turn around his Balearic Slingers and just to kind of shoot point blank into my units. This Lusitani Nova, even though it's surrounded and outnumbered, it's managing to pull down quite a few of my units. It just kind of goes to show in that kind of engagement they can actually do quite well, even if they are surrounded. At this point, my Royal Cataphract General is it's feeling active, so I'm going to pull it around. Just want to make sure I can deal with his this threat here, because you can see under the combined Scutari Cav pressure and the Balearic Slinger fire, they're all able to kill my Summation Lancer. But I am able to get my Royal Cataphract in there, and you can see just how how quickly they destroyed this Scutari Cav, down to 14 men. So I'm going to bring my skirmishers up, my Eastern Slingers, and probably pour some fire down on these Iberian skirmishers. We do manage to destroy these Scutari Cav, down to 4 men. They are still fighting though, that's quite surprising. And I get a nice rear charge into these Lusitani nobles before my own hoplites end up losing that fight. So they're down to 73 men, and they are wavering, they are shaken, and they're losing their current combat. Just not doing too well overall against these Lusitani nobles. So I have popped Battle Rhythm and put them into Hoplite War, but there's only really so much you can do when you're coming up against Lusitani nobles. And one of those options is to pray and just hope that they don't take out your units. So I managed to buy a little bit of time with Battle Rhythm, but it's not going to be forever. And I managed to pull my Cataphract out and bring it back in for another rear charge. Getting quite a few kills in this unit here, though that Cataphract is exhausted at this point. 107, just kind of reaching up over 120 kills there. He's going to chase off the last of my Persian hoplites, and I think he's what he's aiming to do is bringing his Lusitani nobles over here into this fight, which is probably not a good idea, because he's showing his rear to he's presenting his rear to my Summation Horse Archers, so I'm able to get some very good shots into the rear of these very low armored units. So these are very valuable kills that I'm getting with my Summation Horse Archer here, and I'm going to get one more rear charge into these Lusitani nobles. This was probably a little bit of a mistake. I should have pulled out, because he got a very good javelin toss with his Lusitani nobles into my Royal Cataphract. So they've taken quite a few losses at this point. Up to 141 kills, double XP chevrons. His Lusitani noble here's got a single XP chevron, and his other ones here's got the same. Though they are falling under my heavy skirmisher fire, I'm just pouring it in at this point. I've got a couple of Eastern Slingers and a Horse Archer, and I'm just going to absolutely lay it down on them. They're going to turn around and try and chase off a couple of my units. This one's about to waver, getting some good rear shots into this one here. So it's kind of like a little bit of a waste. I think my opponent just didn't really expect to lose the skirmishing engagements. But these Eastern Slingers are well worth their coin. I think it's like 360 talons that they cost, and that they end up paying for themselves. So that's out of the way. Great player. Sorry, I should have introduced him at the start there. But his Lusitani nobles actually wrecking a whole bunch of my units, but it just wasn't enough. He didn't have enough killing power or holding power in the rest of his army there. My Royal Cataphract's getting almost 200 kills, and my Persian hoplites not really doing too much, but then again, I didn't expect them to do much anyway. So that was game 1. So that's 1 to Jujubear and 0 to my opponent there. Now I picked Armenia just to keep with the same kind of theme. We're playing in Petra, and my opponent's picked Carthage. Now you can see he's got 2 of these Numidian Cav, which is a very interesting choice. I don't really see them too often on the battlefield, and I thought I'd keep this roll going and go for a kind of like a similar build. So I got 2 of these Eastern Slingers up the front. This time I brought a couple of Kartli Axemen to flank my Noble Spearmen in the middle there. And I've got a Persian Cav on the flank over here. 760 talons buys you quite a good unit there. The Persian Cav is a very heavy shock Cav. Not heaps expensive, but you get some very good stats for the price. And I'm going to back that up with an Eastern Spearman once again, just to deal with any Cav engagements I get. So I got a Horse Archer, and immediately I'm going to go up here and scout out. I can see his Numidian Cav. He has got the uphill advantage, so I'm not going to approach him at this point. I'm just going to let him come to me. So I'm just kind of like sitting my Eastern Slingers up here, taking some shots at these Numidian Cav, getting some pretty good shots off. this Numidian cav has just taken quite a few losses. But I'm going to pull my horse archers away from this engagement. I am very light, and they are light missile cavs, so I'm going to be able to outrun them any day of the week. I have the range advantage, so you're going to see me kind of hold them at bay for quite a while before I succumb eventually. Actually, I shouldn't give that away. Anyway, he's gonna pull up. We can see the rest of my opponent's build. He's got 3 mercenary Iberian swordsmen with their incredibly useful javelins that they can toss. Quite a few ammo on those units as well. He's got 3 of these late Libyan hoplites and a mercenary Italian swordsman, and he's also got a noble cav general. So very good build from my opponent here. Very strong. His killing power is in his javelins of these mercenary Iberian swordsmen, and you're going to see them get used very well. I think these are only 350 talent units. In these small fun battles, they can be instrumental. So I'm going to get a nice, kind of like a downhill charge with my units into a couple of these Iberian swordsmen. I just want to kind of get into them before they can use their javelins. So a nice downhill charge with these Carthage axemen. He's going to try and get into the rear of my noble spearmen, but I'm not going to allow it. And all the while, he's just going to clump in a couple of units in here as well. So across the line, it's kind of going up 2 against 1. So he's kind of like holding down a couple of my units with 2 units at a time. So I am outnumbered. At this point, he is going to get a kind of awkward flank charge on me, but I'm going to get a nice counter charge with my own Persian cav. At this point, I'm pouring slinger fire with my slingers onto those Numidian cav over there. Now, he has committed most of his troops. He has got a mercenary Iberian swordsman in the rear, and I think it was going to... Yeah, it looks like it's targeting my eastern slinger, and it's doing a lot of damage. So that was a very good target for him there, because I didn't really have too much of an option there. It looks like he's pulling through with these late Libyan hoplites. And I don't know how I feel about that, so I'm just going to charge straight in with my Persian cav. They weren't in formation, so I was able to get quite a few kills, and then I'm going to have to pull out at some point. I feel like this was an accident. I shouldn't have done this. So I'm going to chase off his noble cav with my eastern spearmen, and then I'm going to get into these Iberian swordsmen. That's probably not going to be an engagement that's going to go well for me. All along the front, I'm happy with this, I'm happy with that, and I'm happy with that. But he is getting behind my line with units like this, these late Libyan hoplites. So I can see that he's going to bring his noble cav around this flank, so I've got my Persian cav over here at the ready. Very good units, these Persian cav, up against horse units, but they need support. So if I throw this guy into these noble cav, I'm going to have to want to get something into him as well. Which is where these eastern spearmen would have been useful. So he's done the correct thing and he's got into diamond formation. So very intelligent from my opponent there. He's kind of like limiting the surface area that my Persian cav can exert upon him. He's going after my slingers with his Numidian cav. Very good decision as well. I don't understand why the skirmishing function is so broken that I can't run away with a very light missile cav. Kind of frustrating, but whatever. And I've got my noble spearman in here. It's winded. It's losing. I can't understand why. Yeah, see, I'm in hoplite wall. These Carthage axemen are doing very well. They've taken hardly any losses, and they are putting these Italian swordsmen to the sword, so to speak. These Carthage axemen are actually doing very well as well. 115 kills at this point, mostly hoplites, but they really should be doing more at this point. So pretty much all of my skirmishes have been caught or destroyed. I've got a couple of these eastern slingers left, and I'm trying to target his general at this point, but he's getting some really nice downhill charges on my Carthage axemen. You can see he absolutely flattened a whole bunch of my units there. These are Carthage axemen, almost getting almost up to 100 kills there. I think I had to issue an attack order on these Italian swordsmen because they were just a little bit too far away. But it's too little too late anyway, because we're getting a waiver all across the line. These Carthage axemen attack from the rear. They are shaken. I was bringing a couple of my skirmishers back, but at this point it's GG, and it's kind of like a bit of a cleanup for the rest of the match here from my opponent. So Really well played. A very well picked army there. I find certain factions are going to be able to field certain units that will definitely increase their chances of winning the match. And these Iberian swordsmen tend to be fairly consistent in that regard. My Carthage X-Men getting plenty of kills again, but it's just not enough. I managed to chew through a couple of units, but they were just very cheap and very good at doing what they do best, which is holding up expensive units. So that was game 2, so it's 1-1 at this point. The Tower of the Way won the second. Oh, the Tower of the Way, the Path. Wow. How's that for a name? So I won the first one, my opponent won the second one, and this will be the decider. I brought the Ardiaei. This is Battle of Edessa, and he has brought the Seleucids. This one's a little bit longer than most of the other battles here, so I'm just going to put it into... I'll leave it in play, actually. So I've got 3 of these slave slingers up the front. Very cheap. I think it's like 240 talons. They've got 150 range. They don't have the highest missile damage. Shots per minute's pretty average, and ammunition. For what you get, you know, they're so cheap. They are really cheap. Like, ridiculously cheap, these units. So... very good to have them on my side, and I've got 3 of them, so got slingers for days, so to speak. Now, my main core is going to be made up of hoplites. I've got an Illyrian Marine, good unit. They have javelins, plenty of them as well. Fairly high armor, and they do have square formation as well. I've got one of these Illyrian Noble Hoplites, probably one of the best hoplite units in the game. At least most heavily armored units in the game. 115 armor there, 70 base morale. Some pretty insane stats there. And a half decent charge bonus as well for a hoplite at 30. And I've got another one over here, an Illyrian Marine. So that's going to be my core. On each flank, I've got a mercenary Celtic warrior. Now, what I was talking about with these very useful, cheap units, these are going to count as well. These Celtic warriors are going to be absolutely instrumental in most of these small funds battles. So I've got 2 of them, 1 on each flank. Now the opponent is bringing up one of his camel archers, and he's also bringing up a Median cav over there, if you can see. So immediately I'm going to bring my slave slingers and try and just ward him off, get some good shots into his rear, do some hit point damage from shore. And I've also got one of these Illyrian REARS spears. Now, my opponent's not dumb enough to just, you know, charge straight in and start taking shots, so he's going to be intelligent and pull around and try and scout out the rest of my army. So I was trying to be sneaky, and I've got one of these Illyrian cav hidden in the woods here. Half decent unit, not too bad. I don't know what I would liken them to, but they're just, you know, half decent. I was going to hold on to them and try and use them to catch enemy cav, and then I was going to back up most of those engagements with either, you know, Illyrian REARS spears, because these guys do have cavalry counter-tactics, which gives them an insane boost to their melee attack against mounted units. So you're going to see us kind of go back and forth. At this point, I got the debug camera on, so I may as well put it on overhead, kind of. The enemy's army, you can't really see anything. There's a Royal Peltas there. There's a couple of hillmen. Now, the rules for most of these Total War Tuesdays triple threat games is you can kind of bring max 3 of the same unit, just so it avoids, you know, spams like all Celtic warriors or all like MLG Freeman. He actually pops Whistling Shot on my Illyrian cav there, which is pretty bizarre. So I'm taking some fire. These camel archers probably getting... Have they got any kills yet? They've got 2 kills, so for all their ammo that they've expended, it's not really working out that well for them. They haven't lost any men, mind you, so he's doing pretty well in terms of skirmishing with his camel archer there. But I'm just going to keep moving up. I don't mind, you know, holding him off. I know that I've got the advantage, and I can hold him off. So it just depends on what is in these woods here, what he's hiding. So this is going to be a lot of killing potential in his army here, this Royal Peltast. Very powerful sword unit. Coming up against pretty much any of my units here, he will be able to destroy me. So I got a very good toss of javelins off with my REARS spear. I'm probably going to get another one off before these guys get out of range. No? Yes, maybe a little bit. Not really. So he managed to take out 17 of those camel archers in one volley, which was nice. And I'm getting some good volleys with my slave slingers on these Median cav. Now, any hit point damage that I can do to these Median Cav is good. I'm going to want to get them off the field. I feel like Ardiaei is a faction that is a little bit... They seem to have everything that you want in an army. They've got, you know, amazing Threa spears units. Here I get another really nice javelin toss off again, taking out a few of those camel archers. Yeah, they've got really cheap skirmishes. You know, half decent. I mean, the Cav's not very good. I guess that's where they're lacking is the Cav, but they've got awesome options all across the board in you know, other departments. So what you're going to see me do is pull myself up into this little patch of trees, just so I can give my skirmishers a little bit of cover. So we have uncovered a couple of these skirmishes here. I think they're both Eastern Slingers, so my opponent's kind of taken a leaf out of my book in the past 2 matches, and he's taken a couple of these slingers with him. Very good units. So we'll see if I can hold them off with my 3 slave singers. Now he's probably thinking, while I've got my attention trained back here on his horse archers, his camel archers, he can kind of pour in fire from the front and get a bit of an advantage, because I have to split my attention 2 ways. But I'm not worried about this. There's not much killing potential in these camel archers at all. I don't even think they have... I don't think they have heavy shot or anything, so it's not really... Even if they do, you know, get plenty of rear shots into my units, they're not going to kill anything. Like, they've been shooting at these Threa spears pretty much the whole match, and they haven't got a single kill. So I'm not worried about them at all. They've only got 2 kills. So what you're going to see me do at this point is pull my units up. I'm just trying to get my Illyrian Cav away from his camel archers, because no doubt that's what he's targeting at this point. And I'm going to keep my Threa spears trained on these camel archers. He's going for something else over here on this flank at this point. So I'm just going to take my slingers and target a lot of those units. Now we do have a skirmishing engagement. Ooh, here we go. Some nice shots there with those slave slingers, getting a fair few kills on those units there. We haven't taken out any of those Median Cav just yet, so that'll take a little bit of time, I'm sure. Now we do get a skirmishing engagement up the front. I'm going to train my slave slingers onto one of his units. I think he's doing the same, doing a bit of focus firing. It seems to be the right way to go, just kind of take out one unit and then move on to the next. So we are slowly uncovering a few more of my opponent's units here. Now, he's got 3 hillmen with a couple of XP chevrons on this one over here, so it's got 29 melee attacks. It's not bad. 39 melee defense. So these units cost 220 talons. With a couple of upgrades, they can be quite useful. So what you're going to see me do here is push my Illyrian Cav up and just force my opponent's skirmishers to move back. Because I notice now I do have the cavalry advantage. Now, are we going to see a... So I'm getting very good shots on his camel archers. They are crumbling very quickly. So he's now down to 22 men with that unit, and it's about to rout. So pretty much off the field. So every time I push my Cav up and force back his skirmishers, they present their back to me. And that's important because that enables my slave singers to get some very, you know, important shots into the back of his own Eastern Slingers, and thus getting more kills. So we have got equal range at this point. How's the missile damage? 20 to 23. So the Eastern Slingers have a little bit more missile damage, but I do outnumber them. Ammunition's the same. I suppose the rest would be the same. Yeah, so at this point I'm just kind of whittling away his Eastern Slingers. It looks like it's fairly even at this point. But now that we've taken out his camel archer, I can get all 3 of my slave singers trained on at least one of his units up here in the front. So I think I'm targeting this one here, and you're going to see me use my Illyrian Cav once again to push back the enemy skirmishers so I can get shots into his own units. And we were able to get quite a few casualties there. So at this point, I actually realized my opponent broke the rules and he's brought 4 of these hillmen. Now, they're not amazing units or anything, but rules are rules. I didn't really say anything just because I was interested to see how the game went. I felt like I already had the advantage, so we kind of just let the game go ahead. So this season slingers down to 99. I think he senses that I'm getting the upper hand, so he's going to start pushing. And he has got this hillman poised to strike. So what I'm going to do is pull my Illyrian Cav. I was thinking about doing a frontal charge onto these hillmen, but then I thought better of it, and I just decided to push back his skirmishers once more, just to further cement my dominance in the skirmishing fight. So this one's down to 84, and this one's down to 98. So we've made pretty short work, and most of my slave singers are over 100 men left. So that was kind of like a skirmish fight that went perfectly for me. That everything that happened there was good. So at this point, I noticed that the Median Cav were going to come in and attack me. I do turn around my Celtic warriors, and I get a very good jav toss in, and I'm going to pull a lot of units in. I put them into melee mode, and I'm just going to throw them in against this Median Cav. I want to get rid of all of his mobility. At this point, my opponent brings the rest of his army out, and he wants to face me. And I'm going to deny him that, and I'm going to pull all of my units here. I'm going to pull everything back to a safe location. He's going to try and extricate his Median Cav, but I'm going to chase him off with my Illyrian Cav. He's going to take lots of losses doing so, because I am chasing him off with a whole bunch of very powerful spear units that have very good bonuses versus large, and he's actually going to rout. So he only managed to do 20 losses on my Celtic warrior, and he actually lost a Median Cav, so that worked out really well for me. Just kind of finishing off this engagement really quickly before he can do anything about it. So I'm going to get charges with my Illyrian Marines into the enemy units, getting my Celtic warriors in here. I'm going to turn around with my Illyrian Marines and kind of take on these hillmen frontally. Going to get a pretty good counter charge with these noble hoplites. He doesn't actually get a charge. I think he was chasing after some of my skirmishers there. So I'm going to pull up back all of my skirmishers and form up a line. I'm bringing back my Thorea spears, and I'm going to pour my Illyrian Cav into some of his skirmishers and just finish them off. I've got my Celtic warriors coming around the flank, and I'm going to enclose him up against my Illyrian Marines. Now he does notice a gap, and intelligently he threads his hillmen through. And these hillmen are quite good at chasing off skirmishers, getting around and flanking, so he's using them correctly, doing a really good job at kind of exposing my holes and weaknesses here. But now his main killing power has arrived to the fight. It's a little bit too late. He's going to absolutely shred this Celtic warrior, but there really isn't much it can do at this point. So I've got a nice rear charge into these hillmen with my Illyrian Marines. They're going to absolutely crumble. They've only got 4 kills, while a lot of my units are doing a lot more. This hillman's crumbling as well. He's popping a lot of general's abilities at this point. Raise banner, rally. I've popped second wind, and I've put this Illyrian Marine into square. It was originally on battle rhythm. It's got 132 kills at this point. These are Royal Peltas getting quite a few kills against my 51 kills against this Celtic warrior. But I'm going to bring my Illyrian Cav in for a rear charge. Let's just go into... Oh, I fucking missed it there. So I get a nice rear charge into these Royal Peltas, getting quite a few kills there. My Celtic warriors are going to waver, because they are losing decisively against, and you couldn't really expect anything less against something like a Royal Peltas. Very expensive units, 80 kills up at this point. My general's unit is coming in and going to get a nice rear charge into these Royal Peltas, so we've got him pinned up against a very expensive unit here. Now, my Illyrian Noble Hoplites have lots of armor. They have a half decent charge bonus, so they got a nice rear charge there. And I'm going to expose his flank, because he is showing me his rear at this point. Once again, showing me the booty. And I'm going to put these slingers where they need to go. Or these sling stones when they need to go, which is on that ass. So we managed to get some really nice shots into the rear of that Royal Peltas. So in that extremely short time that this Royal Peltas was able to get a few shots, it kind of got a lot of kills. So almost getting 100 there. My Illyrian Cavalry, 152 kills. A lot of my hoplites actually getting a fair few kills all across the board. They were up against hillmen, so you kind of expect that. But my Celtic warrior is doing a really great job of getting around the flanks and being annoying, I suppose. Hillmen are good, but I wouldn't do a spam like this. They're good charge bait, and they're good for kind of baiting javelins and, you know, skirmisher fire. And I guess they're good at getting around the flanks and getting into the rear of enemies and causing, you know, attacking the rear penalties. But other than that, you know, they're not really that useful. So anyway, thanks for the game, the Tower of the Way, the whatever his name is. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Leave us a comment if you did not, and like and subscribe if you did. And we'll see you guys next time. Total War Tuesdays, Jujubear signing out.